First of all, this is crazy. Because didn't at the beginning she said I'm not giving any names? This was a rumor that went around, and if it's true, she's wild for saying this out loud. That's crazy. If she's really exposing this news and nobody knew about it. You know what I'm saying? Drop a like, leave a comment, let me know you're in here. We finna have fun tonight. What the hell, y'all? Logic's back with another one. Today, I'm gonna go over this new video that Brittany Simon just dropped. She usually streams on her channel. She does drop videos as well, but she's another streamer that kind of does, I don't know what to call it. I can't call it therapy because she's not a therapist, but she just basically helps people, guide people through hard times and kind of coaches people throughout life with her channel. And she has a kind of female-centric channel. It's pretty good. And she was also part of Destiny's Orbit. And some months ago, maybe a year or so ago, they kind of split apart after a conversation they had. They kind of broke apart and they're not really friends anymore. And now I think this video is an expose on Destiny. It seems like this is her personal nail in the coffin since they broke up a few months ago. She's kind of been here and there talking about Destiny. To be honest, the reason they broke up, I think, was kind of petty. I'm saying broke up as their friendship. The bridge burned, I should say. They had a conversation about sexual assault victims, and Destiny was basically telling her that I'm not sure that a woman that may be more in tune with her sexuality and maybe more free with her sexuality might deal with being sexually assaulted as hard as somebody who is not in tune with themselves. He wasn't making a definitive statement. He was just saying, like, I don't know, I wonder if that plays into how you feel about those things. And it kind of bothered her. And ever since then, she talked to a therapist, Dr. K. I think he's a therapist or a psychologist, one of the two. I'm sorry if I'm not correct on the label, but he basically kind of agreed with what Destiny said, that, depending on how you deal with your own sexuality, you very well could handle being sexually abused differently than somebody that isn't. And ever since then, she's kind of been on a tirade to attack Destiny, and it's kind of strange, but this video seems to be her last attempt to tell people the kind of person Destiny is, from what I've seen. So we're gonna see what's to it, man. I will preface this by saying that I do like Destiny as a content creator, and I also like Brittany. I don't always agree with her. Sometimes I think she kind of tries to walk the line in a way that's kind of impossible with the line of judgment versus observation. I think that she doesn't walk that line too well in a lot of instances, but we'll see what she has to say about this.
In today's video, we will be discussing the streamer Destiny.
Internet communities, especially online ones that do like political debate and video games, are very much like big boys clubs. So it's not enough to just say you can't be misogynistic. Always going to be an othering effect on women.
There's a lot of stuff that you're saying that is a part of misogyny. It's almost like obvious. Like any woman would tell you that.
A woman will, yeah, but they're not in these spaces, and a lot of the guys don't know it.
I think what that requires is just empathy.
If you do not know who he is, it's okay. I will tell you.
No drama, but Brittany talks about you in regards to relationship advice starting here until at least 8 minutes.
That kind of already gives me a bad feeling. She's like, if you don't know who he is, I'll tell you. First of all, 9 times out of 10, if you watch Brittany, you know who Destiny is. And she's like, I'll tell you, but all she's going to do is pick the worst moments or what she deems as the worst moments of Destiny, which is kind of unfair.
Later, don't get upset. Oh no.
I'm open to criticizing all of my friends for their choices, but then look, Abbott tried to come to Steven and say your hedonistic lifestyle isn't working. And Destiny got not only offended and defensive, but literally was not open to the conversation.
Bro, I'll talk about anything all the time ever. Are we serious?
No, I just brought up Rolo.
Yeah, you just brought up Rolo. So then the question stands, did you Lauren Southern? Hey, you brought it up.
I feel like I have more conversations about my lifestyle than literally any other person on the internet.
Destiny is a...
Okay, see, I know I'm a new content creator on, I've only been making videos about this stuff for a few months, but I've been in tune with all this lore. I know pretty much all of this lore. And that was just a gross mischaracterization of what he said. She said Destiny shut off that conversation. Like, listen, y'all, I know I'm new to making videos, but I know this lore. She said Destiny was cut off to Abba with that hedonism conversation. He just disagreed. He did not cut off the conversation he had with Abba about the hedonism stuff. He just disagreed with what Abba was trying to say with his perspective of the conversation. He didn't shut him off. He had the conversation. He just disagreed with what Abba was saying about it. And then when it comes to him and Lauren Southern having sex, Destiny already said out loud, I'm not going to be telling people out openly who I am having sex with, whether I am or whether I am not, because all it's going to do is expose that other person's business. And if they want to tell it, that's on them. But as far as me, I'm not going to say whether yes or no, if I'm engaged with anybody, because depending on how I answer, if I say no or whatever, then you're just going to give too much information whether you answer yes or no. That's not fair. And on top of that, just because he's open about his life doesn't mean he has to say who he's fucking. That's a little bit unreasonable to say, because Destiny's personal life is open, but I don't need to know every person that he's had sex with, especially another content creator. That's a little bit unfair of an assessment to expect him to openly say on stream, yeah, I was fucking another content creator, whether he was or not. That's unreasonable.
Content creator here on YouTube who has made the rounds as a combative debate bro and somebody who's involved in politics for the Democrats and the liberal side.
I don't think you know what American values are. I don't think you know what this country was founded or built upon. And I think you guys are obsessed with a cult leader.
But I need to make an argument today that we need to stop interacting with people that are misogynistic and apologists. Destiny has once again proven
Misogynistic and a rape apologist. Very strong claims.
And that he has not changed, and that he is willing to throw women under the bus, he's willing to throw minorities under the bus, and he's willing to do whatever it takes to win, even if that means at the expense of everybody else. I am not making any accusations about Destiny, but I am going to tell you what he told me in private and was confirmed later by others, and things he told me in group dynamics. None of the people that were there during those group conversations
In private, but this sounds like all this stuff is supposed to be said in confidence. Oh, God. If she finna tell people business, that's crazy.
will be mentioned, but if they would like to come forward to confirm what he told all of us and what we all know to be true based off what he told us, you can do that, but I will not name names because right now we need to focus on Destiny. One of the things I want to avoid is something that he does often, which is puts the blame on everybody else and away from himself.
Videos.
So she's doing it.
I don't know. I don't know about that,
Well,
right?
I think that could be pretty. I think she's a person that likes to see good in people, and I think she does see good in people. And I think
But
it's a good thing.
then how do you come away with these opinions of me? Am I really that retarded that I can't see myself so much?
Introspection is really hard because you would have to face the ugliness within yourself to transform yourself. He's talking to the woman that he cheated on and gaslit and now they're divorced about why I think he might not be doing the greatest things to the people around him. And I want to make sure that we are focused on him since he is in many ways the ringleader of a lot.
This is, man, it's, like I said, it's so, if you don't know this lore, it's hard to understand, but I know all this lore. And it's like Destiny, people come away with assessments of him. And it's almost as if like, because it's so contrary to their beliefs, they characterize their own assessment of how you should be on him. But Destiny does not come off. He doesn't try to portray himself as somebody that's like, you should follow what I do or what I'm doing is correct. He doesn't put himself out as that type of person. So I don't remember exactly that conversation he was having with Melina, but I'm sure that whatever Brittany was saying about him was a mischaracterization of him. And it all started because they had that disagreement. Before this disagreement, they generally agreed on stuff, and him and Brittany was cool. And the moment they had a kind of a big disagreement, then it was like she turned her back on Destiny, which is that's kind of messed up, you know? And they weren't disagreeing on something like personal. Well, her story is she did have SA happen to her. So it felt personal to her. So I guess she took it differently than somebody that may not have had to deal with it personally. So I think it affected her differently to have that type of conversation. And she took it out on him.
A lot of these people, and two, he is responsible for his actions and his actions alone. Since Destiny is involved in politics, and given the way that this election went, I just want to send a note to the Democrats that we do not need an Andrew Tate on the left. So here's what I know. Present tense Destiny, the person who just a few days ago
We need an Andrew Tate on the left as far as popularity, not for character.
Mocked and belittled an assault victim, someone who is a part of his own group, made it clear that he is willing to be a apologist and misogynist like he's always been. Recently, somebody in his community named Kelly Jean, who is an assault victim, came to
Okay, Kelly Jean and Forethought just had this big argument on Destiny's stream. apologist. If she's talking about this situation, he's not a fucking apologist. That's absurd. There's an argument to be made. If I want to see her argument for his misogyny, I would love to see this argument be made because it's possible. But apologist for this situation is crazy. That's crazy.
To him because of his paid mod, Forethought.
I'd rather not bring up the details of a sexual assault that relates to me. Out of preference.
Kelly Jean said, okay, Forethought said to Kelly Jean, stop pretending you're hurt by sexism. Your greatest aspiration was being an esports rape victim. And then he said again, Kelly Jean, holy fuck, no wonder you wish you got raped. You've got literally nothing going on to be doing this at 40. Kelly Jean sent a bunch of screenshots about stuff that Forethought said to her, but she didn't include what she said back. It may not change how fucked up what he's saying is, but it was just his text.
That's fair. I don't think you should either.
I was just checking if he's referring to like a thing that actually happened, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
For those in my audience who are listening and not watching, I'm going to read out the text messages so you understand the context of those messages and why they were so disgusting. Please heed a trigger warning related to assault. These messages are from Forethought to Kelly Jean. Kelly Jean, stop pretending you're hurt by sexism. Your greatest aspiration was being an esports victim. Second message, Kelly Jean, holy no wonder you wish you got raped. You've got literally nothing going on to be doing this at 40.
Is Big Steve there in the background?
Yeah, he's in the background.
Yep,
Yeah.
just hanging out.
Hey, Big Steve, you've read these DMs. The question is the $15 a week truly worth it for this man to be running this like it's his own? There is people that will do it that you trust for free. You do not have to give mod back to me or anyone else. There has to be better people that do not say shit like this. There has to.
Yeah,
why did you only send this to you because you got banned?
Darius, shut the fuck up and let Destiny speak, you stupid.
Forethought's been running the subreddit for a couple years. The subreddit has been spam reported, brigaded, attacked by a whole bunch of external communities, and somehow he's managed to keep the subreddit alive. I don't really know anybody else with a record of like moderating a subreddit that I could trust in that position.
Forethought wrote her disgusting messages that I think any reasonable and rational person would find deplorable. When confronted with this by even people in his friend group, including Dan, who's now infamously known for taking down Twitch, Destiny laughed. He belittled Kelly Jean and he made misogynistic jokes. When Kelly Jean came to him, when Dan pressured him, when people in his community asked him why is he letting this pass, he basically said that Forethought was a good moderator of his Reddit and he didn't see the issue because it happened basically, quote, in private.
Forethought thinks he's like somehow winning the battle after doing all this with Kelly.
Do you stand by these logs, Forethought? Hell yeah, 100%. There's no treatment of Kelly.
So I watched this stream, and I do think Destiny needs to reevaluate how he's going about this situation. I think Destiny dislikes Kelly Jean so much that he's willing to let this slide. I think if this was anybody but Kelly Jean, he wouldn't let this slide. Also, I think he values Forethought so much that he's willing to let it slide. So it might be the combination of how much he values Forethought and how much he dislikes Kelly Jean. And Forethought is his biggest, I guess, most not loyal. I guess it's his best moderator. He moderates his Reddit and he does it well. And I think he wants to overlook this because of how much he dislikes Kelly Jean, which I think is unfair because the shit Forethought said to Kelly Jean was crazy. Now, most of it was in private, which I get the argument. He doesn't want to have to police people's private messages. And I will say, if anybody knows Kelly Jean or if you don't, I'm telling you right now, that woman is fucking annoying. She's an asshole. She's manipulative. And she's generally, from what I can tell online, she's not that much of a good person. She's not a good person from my summation of what I've seen on her on stream and how she talks and treats other people. She's not a good person. Forethought seems to be more of the same. He doesn't seem like to be a good person. He don't give a fuck about nothing. He just says crazy shit to people that he's arguing with and doesn't give a fuck. But nonetheless, I saw the arguments made, and at the end of the day, it's still not misogyny. I think he just does not like Kelly Jean. And it's unfair to say that because you dislike someone strongly and they're the opposite sex, it means you hate the sex. I truly think it's just about how much he dislikes Kelly Jean and how much he wants Forethought to be his moderator, which there's still an argument to be made that this is unacceptable behavior for your moderator. But misogyny is a bit of a stretch because how much he dislikes her.
Kelly Jean, that is incorrect.
That means that you dehumanized me to the point where I am like what?
Yes,
Nothing,
I've said that.
You do realize that that has a knock-on effect to everyone else that reads this, right? You can't just like see this in a vacuum and be like, I hate Kelly, therefore saying anything to Kelly is fine, because it does have effects outside.
The young men in the chat who might be getting into their first like relations with women.
Yeah, sorry for the Elliot Roger of the future that I'm inspiring.
Just a reminder, Elliot Roger, who he just mentioned, was the infamous incel who gunned down women for not dating.
Elliot Rodger, how misogynist killer became an incel hero. Okay, wait. I missed the statement.
Who are might be getting into their first like relations with women.
Yeah, sorry for the Elliot Rodger of the future that I'm inspiring.
Just a reminder.
Oh, sorry for the Elliot Rodger of the future I'm inspiring. Yeah, that was a terrible joke if this guy did that. That's a crazy joke.
Elliot Rodger, who he just mentioned, was the infamous incel who gunned down women for not dating him.
Oh,
it's not
shit.
just that, but the whole idea is that if there's no wrong way to
make.
treat Kelly Jean or whatever, if that's her mentality when it comes to her, who's to say that doesn't expand to other people if you're mad at
You'd have to work really hard to get in the Kelly Jean camp. Can we just start? Why is it okay to do whatever you want
to Kelly Jean?
Oh yeah,
you'd have to ask Destiny that.
I mean, it's Kelly Jean.
That's not that.
See, Destiny just dislikes Kelly Jean that much. And I think that's fucked up because your moderator shouldn't do that. I think Destiny could simply tell him, like, you can't be talking to people in my community like that. Like, that's just not acceptable. The way he talks to her is crazy. He dislikes her as much. Kelly Jean is an asshole. But the way he went far, he is just, I don't know how old Forethought is, but it just seems so immature. The way he was talking to her, whether she's a woman, whether you dislike her, Kelly Jean deserves to be talked to crazy, but there's always a limit to the type of crazy, especially because she's not somebody that you like. You, I guess he feels that way because he may not know her personally, but when you know stuff about the person, he don't know her personally, but he knows her background, so it's like, he's using it against her, which I think is fucked up. It's different when you talk to somebody random on the internet and you say the most crazy shit because it may not even apply to them and they're just trying to get one up on you and it doesn't mean much. So he knows her past and uses it against her, which is fucked up.
Yeah, if you have that mentality, Destiny, then yeah, he's gonna copy it, isn't he?
I think this is a reflection of his character in present tense, and I'm disappointed but not surprised.
Because I've been wanting to talk to you about the
It's definitely a flaw. That's not cool. I even understand being in that predicament. It's like, I fucking need this mod. I don't want to chance another mod, or or giving him a demotion. And I also fucking can't stand Kelly Jean. Like, that's a human. First of all, Brittany's saying is humans gonna human. That's such a human response to that type of situation. If her thing is humans gonna human and people are flawed and stuff, that's literally normal to be like, I really need this person to help me do something, and I really dislike this person, so I could care less how somebody treats them. It's when those two things meet. This is a human response to it, but it does look bad. When you see it happening, it looks bad, because even Destiny's responses to it, I was like, bro, these ain't even good responses to what's happening right now.
Anti-misogyny arc for a long time. And I feel like I actually have a lot of thoughts about essentially, like, how do we achieve this on like the internet, particularly in a political space that is like pretty dominantly masculine? I think there's an intention within BDG, from what I can tell, from what you say and what people say, to make women feel comfortable in this space. Is that correct?
There's an intention from me. There's probably an intention from part of my community, but I would say it's probably a minority.
Why are the feminine traits that are already embodied within this space not celebrated and respected as much as when the masculine traits are embodied?
Because I think the thing that is the most attractive to this space, where it excels in the most, is in the combative masculine traits.
Yes. Is there a way to see a appreciation for feminine traits?
Possibly, but that's not what I excel in. So that's never going to be, or at least that's not what I'm like really good in. So that's not going to be what people are going to tune into me for, probably.
You're right. When you're talking about feminine,
that is a very hard line to teeter if you want more females in your space, but the space isn't inherently welcoming of females or feminine traits. Like Destiny, a lot of people like Destiny for his objectivity, his combativeness, his brashness, and his knowledge. And not saying women can't be those things, but a lot of that shit women are turned off to. So for you to be a woman to last in his community, you gotta kind of bear and trudge through the mud to hang in there. Because Destiny's community, you do need a lot of mental fortitude to last in it. And and it's not to say it's necessarily a good or bad thing, because if women want to be if women are attracted to it, then they might be able to handle it more or less. But if everybody's threshold is different, like Brittany was in it and then she met her threshold, you know what I'm saying?
feminine traits. What do you think the gain would be? What's the measurable difference if the community was more accepting of feminine traits? What would the benefit to women in the community be? I actually think that most of the issues that I see in DGG are from not like being accepting of feminine traits.
I guess I'm postulating a hypothesis. I suspect that if feminine traits viewed as more respect-worthy and more often, even just like in casual ways of like being like, awesome, that's great. Like if you go to I don't want to say your name without upsetting people, but if you go to Brittany Simon's streams, well, there's lots of issues that you might have with it. It is a very feminine community, right? And if you look at the way that the chat comments, it's obviously going to be very different. If we saw feminine traits being respected more, that we would see retention of women potentially increase because they would feel like traits that they probably are more naturally inclined toward is value in itself.
I don't know if that's valuing feminine traits though, so much as people gather.
I get what she's saying, and that's true. You would have to get the men to respect that more, and I don't know how easy or hard that is.
Around somebody that embodies feminine traits. Like I think it follows from the creator.
For the last 2 years, I've been holding on to information that's
true, because like if I don't know, like I'm not Destiny, you know what I'm saying, but I know that I could see in the future if I had a larger platform. It's not that I think, well, no, I do think the way I carry myself, it would be a little bit more welcoming of women, more so than Destiny's community. I can't say that. It's just about how you carry yourself. And like he said, I don't know who that, there might have been Forethought that said, what's the benefit? Maybe the way Destiny has built his community is just you have to be a strong woman to survive in it. And that's not necessarily good or bad. It's just what it is, you know?
Destiny told me that people confirmed, and as much as I thought I would never have to say it, apparently he has decided not to change, to double down, and to continue being a misogynist and apologist. And since Destiny is
like, you have not proven him to be a misogynist or apologist, and you keep saying it. That's kind of crazy.
Involved in politics, I want to make it clear this isn't somebody you want as an ally, as he's willing to throw anyone under the bus who gets in his way. The focus of my channel is to harm reduce, and so here I am participating in what I believe is harm reduction. I can only hope that people in the future take my message into consideration before working, participating in Destiny's events, or God forbid dating him, given his
This is kind of weird because it's like you can make your case without trying to say it. Like, I think the best content creators where you're trying to prove a point, you don't have to verbally say what the point you're trying to prove is. You need to show the evidence, and so far you've not shown enough evidence to show what you're saying. You're showing that Destiny is flawed. You're showing that he has a very heavy male-dominated community. But to say rape apologist and misogynist, we have not seen that. Just because women aren't the focal point or a big portion of his community, that does not make him a misogynist. That's not fair. So you can't keep saying it and make me believe it. The more you say it is more reason for me to feel like you can't prove it. So you have to tell me it, but you can't show it. When I made my Donald Trump video, 80% of the shit that I showed was shit that came out of Donald Trump's mouth and shit that he did and things in the indictments for him for his court cases. I didn't have to say what Donald Trump did. I just showed it. You know, you weave in, you narrate the story, but you don't have to say what that you're trying to prove.
Track record in abusive women. I've met Destiny once in Miami after a few content creators and I decided to collab. It was overall a great event.
My guess is in 2 to 3 months, what I said was Lab is going to have
this time. Lab and Mr. Girl were attempting to cancel Destiny for his abuse of women, which that didn't work at all.
Disagreement with Max over something because she is opinionated, even if she's like malleable, and she's going to realize when she has a disagreement, she's going to think she's safe to do it, but there's going to be a disagreement. He's going to not judge at all. She's going to get increasingly aggravated. She's going to realize, oh, he is a crazy narcissist. And then I don't know if she'll come back to me, if she might be too prideful.
Do you want her to come back?
Not really. I think a lot.
And also, for me, watching Brittany's content, this style of content is different for her normal content. Like, expose videos is not her thing. So I think it's her attempt to it, but I do the way this is coming off right now is like she's in her feelings about this situation. It's not coming from a place of objectivity. It's a lot of emotion behind this because
Accept her?
It would take a lot of apologizing. Okay.
What kind of apologizing? You don't even care about apologies.
You don't even
The
care
problem
about
is that,
apologies.
like, because
So
the
you just
issue is
want
that,
to
like,
suffer.
she's talked an unbelievable amount of shit to me to strangers in her Discord and DMs.
Well done, right?
That was
I'm
less
a walker.
personal. I didn't
She's
care to
never
talk about
coming
that.
back. That's
Probably. She would have to come back as like, I did like 12 months at like a Catholic monastery, and now I'm like,
You know what? This is probably where I want to defend that. I don't even care about none of that stuff. I just hate every time she's on stream. It's always like, I just I don't want to hear her.
If you bring Lab back,
But I think he thinks she's a good guest. So I think that's
she absolutely is a good guest. If I brought Lab online right now, we'd have 20,000 viewers.
I don't think so. I think if you brought her up right now, you wouldn't get grow by more than 1,000.
If what? If Lad came on right now?
13,000. That's
It's gonna happen. He's gonna do it right now.
No, I'm.
But during the time that I was there, I was confided in. I was told things about Destiny's life and his ex-wife, his now ex-wife. They confided in me together and separately about their marriage and the issues that they were having. And on top of that, during dinner events with multiple people, not just his ex-wife and I, but others, he did admit to things I never thought he would admit to. Things related to politics, things related to this job that he claims to love so much. But remember that Destiny isn't somebody with values fighting for the marginalized. He's somebody who wants the credit for winning a battle.
Yeah, but the people that engage in this sometimes the most are the people that also screech and cry that
Destiny stuffs and triggers left.
debate isn't worthwhile, which is why there are people in here screaming that I guess that I'm on speed, and people screaming that I read Wikipedia.
Brother, you've been the one doing the screaming right here.
Dude, I mean, you're the biggest streamer, so you're going to get a lot of people, especially other streamers, criticizing you for stuff.
I'm
all
just saying,
sorts
just
of shit,
within this room right here, within this conversation right here, the past 30 minutes, this has happened in here.
Right. I mean, I can't speak for everybody else. You know, I could say, like, from my standpoint, the issue I have with your content in particular is not even so much the way that you debate or even any of your positions, even though I disagree with a lot of the stuff you say. I feel like the community around it, from my vantage point anyway, is sort of the problem, right? Like, there's this very much this mentality of, like, this kind of ironically an echo chamber is developed, and it's when you engage with people, it becomes like this, you know, almost like this project to try and own them or present them as a fool, and then everybody in that echo chamber, like, you know, kind of perpetuates that, and it's all about like finding faults and flaws and little mistakes that they make and then tearing them down and owning them rather.
Wait, how can wait. Now, did he just say it's an echo chamber, but also within the community they try to find flaws and tear them down and attack them? Is he talking about to other outsiders or within the community? Because that's a contradiction. You can't be in an echo chamber, but then at the same time, people within it try to attack one another. I need to go back. I'm sorry.
Or present them as a fool, and then everybody in that echo chamber, this, you know, almost like this project to try and own them or present them as a fool, and then everybody in that echo chamber, like, you know, kind of perpetuates that, and it's all about finding faults and flaws and little mistakes that they make, and then tearing them down and owning them, rather than clarifying the position or deepening anybody's understanding or opening other people up to different.
I just disagree. Destiny has people challenge him all the time from his community. Destiny always has people. If you challenge him with something that's actually like that has some sense behind it, whether he disagrees or not, he'll accept it and talk about it. But some people come and just like respond to shit that's nonsensical that he never said. Like, I see it all the time. He bans people a lot, but he bans people that say like nonsensical shit. He'd be like, yeah, my favorite color is green, you know, and then I think my second favorite color is like red, and they'll come in and be like, so Destiny, how the fuck do you hate purple? And he'll ban people like that because it's like, shut the fuck up, you're not listening, you're stupid. That's the type of shit he bans. But he doesn't get rid of people that disagree with him, and people disagree with him in his chat a lot.
Ideas.
As I tell this story, I want to make it clear that the Miami event didn't actually occur just in Miami in an isolated event. There were also events leading up to it in which Destiny would tell me things, his now ex-wife, would tell me things. And this helped me build my understanding of Destiny as a character. His flaws, his beliefs, his values, and the things that he would say to me did over time change the way that I saw him. I had initially reached out to him because a fan suggested that I collab with him, and I did not do my research to know who he was before engaging. When Destiny and I eventually went our own separate ways, there was something that he was kind of infamous for saying, and something that I never could allude to until now. He would often say, how can Brittany see me so much differently than I see myself? And it's because when these men or women or they thems, when anyone tells you a story about their life and who they are, they always make themselves the good guy. Except they forget that when they tell people their life story, the details of their beliefs and their motivations for the way that they treat and manipulate people, I'm taking note, as are you. So I did
and that's true. Like that's true. But what I've noticed about Brittany, because I've watched both of their content, Brittany thinks deeply. Brittany thinks so much more of certain things that Destiny and other people don't think. For example, she's probably going to bring it up, cheating. Brittany thinks that cheating is just one of the worst things you can do to somebody in a relationship on earth. She really hates it. She really dislikes it. She looks down upon people that do it. Destiny has done it, but Destiny doesn't see cheating in the same way. Whether or not Brittany, you feel strongly about that, and then you're perfectly entitled to do that. But you can't project that emotion to it to everybody else or other people. Just because you feel strongly about cheating, that does not mean everybody else sees cheating as this disqualifying character flaw that's unacceptable. Like me, if you somebody, that's disqualifying. If you cheat on somebody, I don't know if I would just literally exile you from my life and think you're the worst person walking. And I think a lot of people might feel that way, but you don't, and that's okay. But you hold that standard to other people that don't share that standard, and that's, I think, where a big disconnect is with them.
Take note, and my opinions of him did change over time. He could never fathom that it was because of things he had personally told me. Instead, he usually on stream would go into rants.
And also, he probably can't fathom his things that you told him because you come off as somebody, you present yourself as somebody that's understanding that humans are going to human and that people are walking through life figuring shit out and doing it on their own and trying to make sense of everything around them. But yet, you treat people when they do things that you disapprove of as if they're scum. I don't want to say scum, but you treat them as severely flawed individuals. And then you project that on them, even though they don't live their lives that way. But yet you still claim to be this person that doesn't want to judge people, but you just observe and you kind of make your own. You know, she got a level system where she rates people and their, I guess, where they are in life and the type of character they have. But all that stuff. And though that's why I said in the beginning, those two concepts is going to be hard for you to walk on if you're going to judge people while pretending like you're just making an observation of who they are. You're going to run into issues like this.
About conspiracy theories of all the reasons why I must be anti-Destiny. Maybe I'm colluding with anti-Destiny communities. Maybe I'm traumatized. Maybe it's my mental health. Or maybe it was just the things that he told me. Though it was very clear.
I do find it interesting that she literally just named everything but the issue that broke them apart. And that's why I feel like this is emotional and this is not an objective video to make a point about why Destiny may be a misogynist or rape apologist. It's like she used all these words. The title is, fine, let's talk about Destiny, misogynist, cheater, and rape apologist. She thinks cheating is this like just unforgivable act. A lot of people don't feel that way about cheating. Now, the way you do it may play into it. You know, you cheat on somebody like with their sister or something. That's crazy. But she thinks cheating is this unforgivable act. Maybe not unforgivable, but this heinous act. And everybody don't see it like that. But she just named everything. She named all these reasons of why she might be against Destiny, but did not name the real incident that broke them apart, which was that conversation about SA. That was the conversation that ended their friendship. So why didn't you name it? It's because everybody knows that's what the trigger was to make you stop rocking with Destiny.
Clear on who Destiny was as a person, and I really should believe people when they tell me who they are. It was hard to imagine that this person who was so passionate and articulate and seemed to fight for good things was behind closed doors and maybe even honestly on stream a pretty awful person whose behavior was often ignored because honestly he won debates.
See, I don't watch Destiny as a beacon of a good person. I watch Destiny because he's smart. He knows a lot of information. He's articulate and he is good at debating. That's why I watch him. As far as his personal life, which has very much been on Front Street, he's never done anything that's just beyond the pale of forgiving. You know what I'm saying? Like Trump. I would watch Trump on a podcast, but he went beyond the pale of being president because he tried to steal an election and defraud the entire country. So yes, for what he was trying to do, I don't support that. I don't watch Destiny to be like, man, this is the best guy I've ever seen walking. He's great. He really has all the inside knowledge of what it means to be a stellar human being. I watch him because he's knowledgeable in politics and he's good at debating people. And he makes sound arguments for what he believes, whether you agree or not. His arguments are sound. That's why I watch him. I don't watch him for a beacon of what it's like to be a perfect human. And that's unfair.
Really, the thing that's at play here is
he doesn't portray himself to be as such.
Destiny gets away with a lot of his behavior because he's really good at winning, which sort of reminds me of this recent election. How could the American people vote for a liar and a racist because he wins elections? And something about that really...
I just spoke on this. She said, how can people... And that's a fair point. People voted for that, but they didn't care. I think it's an argument to say that those people didn't care about what they needed. They just wanted... They didn't care about what was right. They just care about what served them. Destiny doesn't serve me. I don't know.
Really makes people want to cheer for you. Everybody wants to be on the side of a winner, regardless of how abusive, misogynistic, apologists they are.
Can't have a conversation with somebody.
Abusive, misogynistic, and everybody. First of You feel that way. It's not proving that he's any of those things.
Who wants to win? He's smart in manipulating people that follows him. But he's not.
She's finna play this video of the Hodge twins talking shit about Destiny after he was on their show, and they seem to have a good conversation, a longer conversation than they have with anybody else, and they talk shit about him. But a lot of people, I'm sorry, a lot of people can't handle Destiny because he just shows the flaws in their logic, and they hate it. They hate it, and I understand that. Because I've been in that position. I've had this, in my mind, I've had this sound argument that made the most sense and nobody could break it whatsoever because I knew what I was talking about. And I had somebody come in and tell me like something that I never heard. And it was like, holy shit. I like it rattles you. Cognitive dissonance is so painful to deal with. I've dealt with it, but you have to humble yourself. You may just not know something. Or may just not understand something that they understand better. And when people do that to you, they don't want to justify you. They want to justify themselves. So they'll put whatever projection of you're wrong onto you, and even though it's them. The Hodge twins is a perfect example for what they finna say. The Hodge twins talked to Destiny and they had their beliefs. Destiny shook their beliefs, and now they're talking shit about him, even though they talked to him longer than they talked to anybody else and laughed with him and didn't have any harsh, back and forth or anything. And then they talk shit once he was gone because he rattled their beliefs. And I'll give it up to Myron for not being rattled by somebody that disagrees with him, even though Myron is a disgusting person. He still is able to be cordial with somebody that disagrees with him if it's not a woman, which is why I think Myron's a misogynist for fucking sure. Destiny has never shown this type of animosity towards women.
He's a guy. He's actually an idiot.
He's a contrarian by nature.
See, like they're calling Destiny an idiot. Myron disagrees with Destiny, but he won't call him an idiot because Destiny is not an idiot. That's not a fair it's not a fair assessment of Destiny. If you listen to him for real, he's not an idiot. People just don't like the fact that he challenges their beliefs to a point where you have to question what you believe, and they can't handle it at all.
That's like what he does is like debate and argue. I get along with him. We have a respectful relationship. He's in Miami. We have a respectful relationship. We disagree on everything though, but it's crazy.
Pause. Exactly. But yeah, he's not calling him an idiot, but he disagrees with him on everything. Yet these two guys, the Hodge twins, I find way less intelligent than Myron and Destiny. They calling him an idiot because they disagree with him.
I hate saying this. I hate this. I was talking to somebody else. I was talking to somebody else. In all of my years, God, this feels so shitty. In all my years doing content, I have more respect for Myron than any other individual.
Oh, fresh in front. Yo, Prince is like it looks like a. You should see him build.
Yeah, Myron is a shitty person, but Destiny respects him because he doesn't disparage him behind his back. But everybody that talks to Destiny in his face that seem to be cordial, they'll go and talk about him behind his back. And I've judged Destiny for like respecting Myron because he's a piece of shit. But I get that he respects him as far as how he treats him. But he's also said, I don't approve of what he does outside. It is, like I said, this is a human gonna human type situation. It is a tough plank to walk. It's a tough thing to balance where you respect me as a person, even though we disagree, but yeah, you act a fool on every other subject. Granted, Destiny and Myron ain't talked in a while too. So, until Myron does something beyond the pale to him, which is a character flaw, he'll be okay with it. Just like the forethought, until he does something to him, it might pass. And that is a character flaw that can be pointed out. That doesn't mean he's a misogynist or a apologist, though. That's my issue.
Momentum, what the
He is the only person that I have seen that will consistently go into areas where there's so much like laughing and jokes and fun times we had right here. If he would shit on me, but he doesn't. He won't do it.
He's like a monkey. Preachers over there looking like McGill Grill and Donkey Kong having a baby.
He's the only person I think I've known in like my entire professional career who has like a large like independent career that's not like, do it. Yeah, that wouldn't do it. Now I'm implicating other people. Like I don't think Abba would do it, but Abba's not like in space where people are shooting me so hard. Him calling you contrarian is great. When he calls me contrarian, he just means I like to argue a lot, which is true I do, but he doesn't mean it in like the super malicious way. But yeah, I give him a huge credit for that.
You say you're not anti-Semitic. So here's the clip this is the one that he erased from the other day, and then you can tell me if this is
like poor. I get it. Myron is a shitty person. I don't like Myron whatsoever. I think he's a bad person. I think Destiny has a flaw as to where it's like, I'll respect you as long as you respect me. But if you do shit to other people, and depending on what it is, I might let it slide. But a lot of people are like that. But she don't like Destiny, so she's calling him out on it. But a lot of people are like that. A lot of people. Not everybody, but a lot of people will let people get away with shit that they don't do nothing to them. But again, Destiny is not in Myron's face all the time either. It's not like he's his homie he kick it with all the time. They just do content together. So that's also an argument to be made. It's like, we could do content together, but we not homies. You know what I'm saying? And they live in the same city, so it's not like he's not accessible to him. And they don't, to my understanding, they don't kick it on no regular basis. So is he really that close to him because he say he respects him as a content creator?
Anti-Semitic or not. You're sitting with Nick Fuentes, by the way, a known neo-Nazi. You agree with that, right? He's a neo-Nazi.
I have more respect for him than any other individual.
No, I wouldn't agree with you on that.
Fuentes' treatment of me is so bad. I don't understand. That's something he'll have to learn and grow. Not to sound like not to be too self-aggrandizing, but like Fuentes should be worshiping me because I am literally I was the only lifeline that he had to like being able to breach like mainstream political conversations. Like I represented a huge potential opportunity to him, and he just was so bad faith in the way that he treats me. It's unbelievable.
Hey, we control your bodies.
This is a bad mischaracterization of what just happened too, because Destiny was just saying that Nick treated him bad and he damn near gave him a voice to more people. And not because I was like, hey, everybody, this is Nick and you should listen to him. It was just because Destiny hated his ideals so much he debated him constantly, so he got exposed to people. Destiny was never agreeing with Nick Fuentes, but I don't like the idea that you shouldn't talk to people that you disagree with. And if you're on the left and you think that that's okay, it's not. Whatsoever, it's not okay. So don't be thinking you should not talk to people you disagree with because Destiny did it. He exposed Nick, and now Brittany is trying to frame it as like he put Nick Fuentes on. Look, he's a fucking anti-Semite racist, and now look how bad of a person he is. That's not what happened. He didn't put him in front of people to follow him. He put him in front of people to argue with him and make him look stupid, which I think he did a good job at. Nick Fuentes looks like a fucking idiot when he talks to Destiny.
Guess what? Guys win again, okay? Men win again. And yes, we control.
Now his career, he's irrelevant for the most part besides his fucking little ass group of people that like him. Nick Fuentes is irrelevant.
All your bodies. It's
his
your body.
Claim to fame was when he was talking to Destiny.
So conciliatory towards me. I'm not looking for that. I'm not asking him to be my bitch or anything. But for him to be like relentlessly bad faith against me all the time, I'm like, bro, who the f are you? I can put you on a stream in front of 14,000 people. Like I'm giving your phone number to like Adam 22 so you can go to a show. Why the f would you like burn my shit so hard? Like you're so. I have more respect for him than any other individual.
So now I'm going to explain exactly what I know about Destiny that made me change the way that I saw him. First and foremost, there was an affair, and this affair was messy. When he confided in me about the affair, when his ex-wife confided in me about the affair, when his mutual friends and I discussed it, it was something that was complicated and gray and messy and involved children, a married person, somebody with a reputation on the internet that, well, was pretty bad. It also was the last person I thought it would be, given that Destiny claimed to be such a liberal and a progressive at some points in his life. So for him to have an affair with somebody who was, quote, on enemy sides felt odd, strange, morally bankrupt in some ways. This is how the story goes, according to what I was told by his ex-wife and him. There was an affair, a longtime affair with a fellow content creator named Lauren Southern.
This stream is hilarious. Well, I'm glad I had a bunch of people earlier. They're like, I am unsubbing. This is disgusting that you're in the presence of a...
First of all, this is crazy. Because didn't at the beginning she said, I'm not giving any names? This was a rumor that went around. And if it's true, she's wild for saying this out loud. That's crazy. If she's really exposing this news and nobody knew about it. She said in the beginning, I'm not saying any names, and now she's giving something that's never been publicly said. Because this whole Lauren Southern Destiny shit was a rumor that was happening, and it didn't make sense to me. I didn't believe it. It sounded like a full-blown rumor, but if it's not, it's not. But for her to expose it, knowing that nobody actually had that information because it's never been confirmed, and she said she wasn't saying no names, this is so fucking petty, bro. This is so fucking petty. Like, this is petty as fuck, bro. Again, and like I said, the thing is, it's like, yeah, this is new information. You're breaking news, basically. But it's like, it's so personal. Because everybody don't, like, this ain't gonna do what you think it's gonna do to Destiny. If you didn't like Destiny, you're gonna continue to not like him. But if you like him, this ain't doing shit. Nope, nobody thought Destiny was perfect. We know Destiny cheats. Like, this ain't beyond the pale of cheating if we know that he's already a cheater. And this is old. It's not new. It's old. You think people gonna not watch Destiny because he cheated when he already admitted on stream he cheated before and he's a cheater? Like, he said, I cheat. That's why I need to be in an open relationship. So if you're not gonna be in an open relationship, you're not gonna do it. You can't hold that against him. You think this is this big character flaw that people don't care about. But for you to say this and people didn't know this for real, that's crazy, bro.
Lived hard. I'm glad someone's enjoying it.
It just feels so personal. And then you're just showing them making content together as if they like finna like make out or something in the middle of the street. Like they're making content together. You can find him doing this with other people when they ain't had sex. So it's like, well,
No, you should talk to him. He's obsessed with Donald Trump and it's disgusting. You really need to talk to him.
No, it says make America great again, okay?
No, he genuinely is like a hardcore Trump supporter. He just said the election was 2 years ago.
like she's showing this like it's like, look, they
Lauren
were
Southern, if you
fucking.
don't know, is quite controversial. She's sort of infamous for shooting flare guns up in the air around migrant boats.
If the politicians won't stop the boats,
so
then we'll
weird.
stop the boats.
This is so.
Lauren is also somebody who's been in the conservative circles out of Canada and is considered a trad wife. But recently, she did go through a divorce that allegedly had abuse involved, and there is a child.
Bite. In fact, one of the creators that received these emails was Destiny. I think you interviewed him recently, and instead of his email that he got was, you should confront Lauren during one of your live stream debates and drop on her that she's actually a divorced single mother who failed in her marriage and who stole her child and was cheating on her husband. And he reached out to me and was like, this is really like unhinged behavior. Are you okay? Like, how can I, like, can you take this to court? Is there anything you can do about this? And that's how I kind of started to find out about the emails.
During this time and during this divorce, somewhere along that timeline, there was an affair. And this affair got messy. One, because Destiny's now ex-wife didn't know it was happening. And even though they claimed to be in an open relationship, there was a lot of lying and deception that occurred. According to them, he had kept the affair secret and kept telling her that nothing was going on. Every time she
Yeah, and that's not okay. It's not okay. But people not watching Destiny because he's not a cheater. That's the problem. Like, he's put his flaws on display for everybody to see. Everybody knows Destiny cheats. Everybody knows Destiny's being in an open relationship. He's admitted to cheating. He's admitted to doing Melina wrong. It's just not. It's not swaying anybody that already rocks with him. This isn't groundbreaking or beyond the pale of who he is and what the reason people like Destiny for. This isn't why people watch Destiny.
inquired, hey.
Honestly, you're adding to him because now this is drama for him to talk about. And people watch him for politics and drama. Like, it's just gonna get him more attention and you're trying to take it away. This is just gonna make people watch him more.
You seem odd.
And then people that don't like him, they're probably gonna watch him and might grow to like him because of his honesty.
Are you okay? Something seems off. He would say, you're crazy. Everything's fine. Everything's great. I'm normal. You're the one who's not normal. There was gaslighting involved. There was lying and deception. All of this time, he was sleeping with Lauren Southern, meeting up with her, collabing with her, and planning to leave his now ex-wife for her. This isn't just a simple...
That just don't sound true. There's no way Destiny, this center-left person, excuse me, would leave Melina to be with Lauren Southern, this full-blown right-wing woman, and be open about it. Like that. I ain't gonna say she's lying. I just don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. That to leave her to be with her, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
I cheated. This was a deliberate affair that happened, and over a course of time, he deceived and lied to his now ex-wife. And honestly, if it didn't go the way it did, he would have been with Lauren Southern now. But Lauren had a change of heart and decided to dump Destiny for somebody else. He came back crying to his now ex-wife and begged her to take him back, claiming his mental health was impaired. That's also what he told me. He told me that my mental health was insane. You don't understand, Brittany. I was so distraught. I was so mentally ill. I don't know. I was insane. You don't understand. And we believed him. We somehow tried our best to meet him where he was. And though we called him out and said this was unethical, he also claimed he was suffering. And all of us believe in redemption and restorative justice in a sense, at least I do. So I thought, okay, maybe he just needs therapy. So that time that I was in Miami, Destiny was busy on his phone because he was being canceled by another group of content creators for abuse of women. And he sat there at a restaurant with me and his now ex-wife and openly admitted that in order to win this war against these content creators, he would manipulate a woman who was honestly so abused by his community, who has her own problems, but also didn't deserve any of the backlash or misogynistic bullying harassment that occurred because of Destiny's interactions with this woman. But he picked her, used her, manipulated her, admitted to us at dinner that he was doing it, and said, this is the only way to win the war. I have to convince her to be on my side. And I looked at him and I said, this is unethical. This is unethical to manipulate this woman. This is unethical to, quote, win this war. This is unethical. And his ex-wife looked at me and said, and this is the man I married. And though he looked ashamed, he did not slow down.
Yeah.
Well, no, where it would be so big that I won't even go on shows or I won't have people that are like platforming them. I don't know if I've ever done that before.
No, you're only done with Anna.
You remember the girl I told you about that Destiny was manipulating behind the scenes and we told him it was unethical? Yeah, he's talking about a girl named Anna, the girl he's talking about right now in this conversation. Pay close attention to the way that he talks about Anna being manipulated by others. And if you can, look at my facial expression while he's talking, because in my head, I know that he's manipulating her behind the scenes, as I'm sure others are as well. But in that moment, I had no idea what to do, except push back in ways that I thought were subtle but clear. And of course, what I learned was you can't subtly push with people like Destiny.
Why are you going the extra step?
Because Max, I think, is genuinely like an evil, harmful, abusive person that I don't want to be involved in blowing up anybody around him. I don't want people to think that it's like cool to like platform that and give him like a bigger opportunity to manipulate and abuse people. And because Lav is like his witting or unwitting tool right now to like recruit people in and abuse people. Like Lav was the person that got Anna, first of all, like wired the up, especially now that I've seen a lot of DMs between her and Anna. I see that like she wired the she ran the out of Anna and then she connected her to Max. Okay. So
wait, when Max and you remember when you pulled me into a call with Max and I was like, I had like my hair tied back and I was like, it was like 8 o'clock at night, it was like a surprise. And you were trying to explain to me like who Max was and you were like, you know, and it kind of like in that moment I looked like an idiot, to be honest, because I was like, did I blow this out of proportion? Do you think in that moment you understood who Max was? And
so here's the, this is, okay, so this is how people work, okay?
My criticism.
Yeah, no, but you also believe the main criticism that you believe are also like Erudite and other people, where you're like, oh, I think that Steven is like deeply unhappy. Brittany finally.
Wait, I never.
Brittany finally saw me off stream, and Brittany finally knows now. I think where she's like, you trust that I'm not like miserable or horrible about all the shit going on. Like,
no, you're a masochist.
Thank
you love to be beaten up, and you love crying women and men, and you hope that they always come to you and on you and all those.
Based. Thank you.
Hey, do you know what you just did there?
What?
You gave me criticism. I was like, oh, you heard what I said. Because I care about you. And then you were like, oh, but you also said this other thing. I'm like, I didn't say it. We're talking about this one thing, right?
You want me to give you props when you're criticizing me?
No, you were criticizing me. No, that...
You were talking about your criticism of me.
No, you were saying, like, I can take this.
Oh, yeah, I can take some criticisms,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
But the main thing that you and Erudite, the last time you guys were here, you were screaming at me.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about this specific thing. But you're going to bring up something else to shit on me.
No, I'm not bringing up the shit on you because that's your main criticism. The post on my subreddit and the things people say, and the message you sent me even earlier was about like, let's get therapy. We need to save you.
I think we should go to therapy together. That's what I'm saying.
I think he has a gripe with like Erudite's criticism, and then I think maybe yours similarly, where he feels like you guys are concerned about the idea that he may not be happy on the inside when it comes to some relationship.
I understand.
I think it's the same advice. It's the same advice that you're probably giving his heart, but I think he feels like it's just coming.
No,
from
the
a
advice
place.
right now, I think he's super happy because he's having everything. But I think if he keeps going in a certain direction, he might lose the things that actually makes him happy.
Like
that's
like
my.
what?
Like Melina and Dan, we're gone. We're out of here.
Because he's actually legit scared of things that he does sometimes, and for me, it's a lot of for me to deal with, like being with him. And when he increases like the crazy,
You mean like when he's
I
getting
get
these like
tired.
Twitter dramas or like on Twitter, but like actual like people like making these allegations? Like, it's a
Yeah, of course it affects me too. Yes, and no one really ever talks about that, but it does. It does affect me.
Yeah.
So I'm telling him.
That's actually a good point because
Yes,
even though
you will-
you're
you will
resilient,
lose
the people that
certain
care
things in
about you probably are actually more.
That's why you have
terrified.
to be Batman. When I do drama, I need to put on a mask.
Yeah, you would need to. But do you ever take that into consideration?
A little
because,
bit, but
because
usually
you're
the goal
more
is to-
resilient, and I actually don't care that your fans get upset because at the end of the day, that's a right to. But the people you
people are
choose to have
close
in your
to you,
life,
yes.
like me, you're a grown man. If you want to up some stuff, go it up. But for someone who's actually dating you, or maybe even family members, like I don't know if that's actually the situation. I can see how that would be a terrifying thing for them.
Yeah, but the goal is to surround myself with people that are really resilient. And if people don't have a certain level of resiliency, they probably can't get like to a certain closeness of me. Like resiliency is like one of the primary things I choose for when it comes to like close friends and shit, I think.
Yeah.
Sure,
but I would say that like even me and Dan putting up with the things that we're putting up with is still pretty like far out there compared to most people. It's and you had us for a long time too. You can't just find someone that you just have a history with just like that. So like you have to like balance that out or figure that out. That's why I'm saying.
Do you acknowledge that? Like there is a certain level of
I
resiliency?
acknowledge it, but when she says that, she's not really saying that. What she's saying is you're too crazy, you need to pull it back because I'm not comfortable with it. That's what she's saying.
But no, that's exactly what I'm understanding. Which
Wait,
is like to a degree,
that's-
some.
well, sure, but that might
because-
be different,
right?
Because
That's
she's
so
saying like we've already met a pretty solid threshold for resilience, which I would argue
Yeah,
if my significant other was involved in a lot of stuff that you're talking about, I'm very resilient. I would still feel like that's a lot, and you probably should pull it back because I'm like that is a lot. And so you don't think that's valid at all?
It's valid.
Because how many people you gonna meet that can handle that much? Because I don't think I can meet.
The problem is that like it's not.
Go ahead.
Well, it's not for me to say this, but like I can live my life in a lot of different ways, right? I can be a single person and be okay. Like I can do a whole bunch of
you
different
told
things.
me on stream you really want someone to
I do. It'd be nice, but like that. Like there are a lot of things that would be nice, but it doesn't mean I'm willing to make a whole bunch of sacrifices. Like when you say you really want a person that like can be like,
it's different. Like I can be okay by myself, but I won't. If I'm gonna be with somebody, it's not gonna be at the expense of me making a shit ton of sacrifices. That's what he's saying, which I get that. This is an interesting conversation though, but I don't know if it's not proving what she was saying. She was trying to talk about how he manipulated Anna.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
She was talking about how he manipulated Anna, but I'm not getting that out of this whatsoever. But this is an interesting conversation.
That's definitely true, but I don't want to sacrifice a whole bunch of shit to get that. Like, I would much rather.
I saw this stream. I just don't remember every word exchanged.
Like, yeah, that's the thing.
So let me ask you don't think it's a reasonable compromise to say, listen, I'm not mad like a lot of stuff that you do, but maybe these more unhinged types of people.
When you say reasonable compromise, you make it sound like there's like a set, like, it can be totally reasonable for somebody to say, I want to eat shit every single morning.
No.
I want to have shit. Yeah, if somebody wants to.
I legitimately think Mr. Gross.
It's not reasonable, Destiny.
Potentially.
Okay, when you invite somebody like that in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. An unhinged person who like
for sure.
would go on a spree. Like,
potentially.
Okay. When you invite somebody like that in your life.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that would probably put a mental strain on a lot of people around you.
For sure.
For people to be like, yo, I would prefer if you weren't like bringing these people into all of our orbits. I think that's a reasonable thing. Like this dude, like serial killer vibes. Like I'm not drunk when I say like I could see him to roll up here and like murking everybody. I really do think that.
Yeah.
And so stay away from crazy people who might eat their girlfriends.
It's two things. So here's my question, just so I'm not projecting. Are you saying you would rather have Max and Lav in your life than Melina?
Whoa, Jesus, you make it direct like that. But yes.
Yes, he's saying that.
But not like, wait, no, let me clarify that. Hold on, because you're talking about marriage.
Yeah, that sounds bad, but I understand what he's saying. He's saying Destiny is one of those people that like he wants his career above having a relationship, which you can say that that's fucked up, but you can't tell nobody how they choose to live their life if it makes them happy. That sounds so fucked up, though. It sounds fucked up. But he's saying like Lav and Max made his career. He shot up at that era, that arc of Lav and Max. That made his career shoot up crazy. So he's kind of like, yes, I care about my career more than having a relationship. It sounds fucked up, but I guess he's going to clarify.
It's not Max and Lav. It's the ability to have like those types of like insane interactions.
Okay, so you would rather have Max and Lav alikes than Melina.
Or than any partner that wouldn't be okay with that.
Okay, so
damn, Melina probably like, what the fuck? Yeah, but I guess he's like that's a good clarification. Like more so than any partner that's not okay with me doing that. If I could have that type of interaction with people online and have a partner that's okay with it, that's ideal versus just them with no partner.
Type of craziness.
Let me ask you, would you say you'd want to be able to keep these people in your life, but not maybe so close to them or not keep them as
like
friends?
if it turn it down to 80% still want them.
Yeah, so like actually have the interaction with them on stream, but not bring them so close into your life, but they're involved with your family and stuff like that.
Fair.
Maybe.
But after I realized he thought he was too smart for therapy, and it was clear that he was going to allow women to be thrown under the bus at every turn, I realized this man was never going to say it out loud. He was never going to say out loud that he had a long-term affair with Lauren Southern, that he lied to his wife, that he blamed her for the need to have the affair. Because when it came out and everybody saw they were getting a divorce, he never corrected the narrative. The narrative is that they were getting a divorce because she had cheated and left him for someone else, not taking into consideration everything that came before that. I
don't think that was the narrative. The narrative was he never said they got divorced because she left him for somebody else. They was having problems. He admitted to doing Melina wrong, and he already prior said that if I ever got left, well, in retrospect, he could have been he was trying to put that nugget in our heads. He could have been what's the word? He could have already planned to say, like, if I ever got left, it's because I don't have the time to attend to a woman the way they would need me to, which he claims is why they really broke up, is because he can't give Melina the attention that she needs and whatnot. So with that happening, when she went to Sweden and got stuck because of some visa stuff or whatever was going on, she ended up being involved with another guy. And it just went, I guess they got a little too serious, so he just didn't want to deal with it. Whether or not that's the facts of the matter, we don't know. But of course, she, at this point, I feel like she's gonna give the worst summation of what really happened, whether she knows it or not. She's gonna give the worst interpretation of whatever actually happened because she doesn't like Destiny.
Into consideration the way that he lies and deceives, not taking into consideration that the time that I was in Miami, while he was busy on his phone arguing with Reddit comments, trying to stop a cancellation from happening, she was crying to me about ways to save her marriage. She spent that whole time in Miami asking me, can I save this? Can I help him? You don't know his good side. You don't know his vulnerable side. He's a good person. How do I help him? Only to find out that this good person that you were advocating for, that you were deceived by, went and threw you under the bus the moment he could. And every time I asked him to get off his phone so he could have a conversation with us, he'd say, I would, but my wife gets jealous if I get more attention than her. I would, but my wife is emotional and unstable. I would, but my wife. At no moment did he take any accountability for the way that he was acting as a bad friend, the way he was socially interacting inappropriately, the way he was manipulating these women.
I mean, I would get off my phone, but my wife don't like when I get attention. I don't get how those two things can make sense.
And instead it was always his ex-wife, his ex-wife, his ex-wife, his ex-wife. And listen, that should have been my cue to leave. I should have gone back on a plane and gone home. But I didn't. And I can tell you that that is a mistake in a lot of ways. But it's what I did. Because
you see what I'm saying? Like, she's taking the fact that she feels so strongly about how people act in relationships to where she feel like she had to go home, and everybody don't feel that way. Like, if I met up with a content creator that I didn't know on a personal level and their relationship life was fucked up, that's not like, I need to go home. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's not my business. You ain't beating her. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're not beating this person. You're not like holding them hostage or against their will. You're not like, you know, bribing them. Like, that's not, just having a fucked up type of relationship ain't beyond the pale of like, I need to go home. I mean, granted, I guess if it was overwhelming, like, this is your standards that you're putting on other people, and everybody not gonna act like that. Like, it's people that probably know what the fuck you're talking about, like Abba and shit, but it's like, people be fucked up in relationships. But you haven't said, Destiny hasn't done anything that's so like abhorrent that you have to just remove yourself, but you feel that way, which is fine and fair for your own sake of your mental state. Like, if you don't want to, that's cool, but everybody don't feel that way.
I, like many of you, we want to do emotional labor for those who won't do it. And so moving into 2025, let's stop that generational cycle. Let's end that generational curse of doing emotional labor for people who aren't going to do it themselves. I've waited 2 years for Destiny to figure it out, to go to therapy, and to realize he is the problem. And he hasn't done it. And I am sick of seeing women bear the brunt of this man's abuse. And even though Kelly Jean, who is infamous in the community for mocking me, saying that my illness isn't real, and has been cruel to so many people, even Kelly Jean doesn't deserve this abuse. Because 2 wrongs don't make a right. Except that Destiny believes it does. And I just want to make sure that we understand that about his character.
So as heavily requested, let's talk about this Destiny, Piers Morgan, Donald Trump situation. And Destiny, if you don't know, is a controversial political commentator and streamer. And he's been getting a lot of heat for his comments following the Trump assassination attempt. With a lot of the stuff he has said in the aftermath, both on stream and on Twitter, pissing off a lot of people. With this, including comments that he made about the firefighter who was killed during the shooting at the Trump rally.
The dude, the firefighter guy, Trump.
This is so irrelevant from what she just said. All she's doing is trying to take like the worst moments of Destiny to make him look bad. This is weird because this is so unrelated to everything she just said. Just like, a lot of people that agree with Destiny don't care about this comment.
The people that support him.
If you don't like him already, yeah, you're gonna feel away.
One of you were in the crowd and you're a conservative fan of mine and you end up, getting blown away, whatever the I'm making fun of you the next
But
time.
if you know Destiny is content, this don't mean shit to you. It's
Twitter. He's made points similar to that a handful of times, also tweeting about the situation seemingly nonstop since Saturday, with some of the posts gaining the most traction, saying things like, a person in a crowd cheering for and supporting a traitor to this country caught astray. I'm so sad, please. I'm sure Corey and Babbitt are both having fun with each other in hell right now. As well as Donald Trump incited an insurrection and then was granted full criminal immunity for possibly all of his involvement. I have zero sympathy for anything that happens to him or anyone who supports him.
Please note that none of the anger directed at Trump has anything to do with the women he's assaulted. Moving forward.
What?
To him or anyone who supports him.
Please note that none of the anger directed at Trump has anything to do with the women he's assaulted. Moving forward, while I was there in Miami, once again, as he was throwing his wife under the bus.
I don't understand what that disclaimer was. Help me if I don't understand what that was.
Bring everybody under the bus. You don't understand, Brittany. You don't understand. I was losing my mind. So he was allowed to use his mental health as an excuse for his bad behavior. But anytime women in his community are triggered, have moments of vulnerability, they're weak. They're girls. They're cluster Bs. Look, if you want to keep your life private, that's good. But you can't go around pretending you've like done right by the people in your life when
my life is so much more public than anybody on the internet. I think there's like 2 things about my life that people don't know about over the past 15 years.
I'm not saying Steven is a bad person. Like I said, I think the majority of the world is good. Okay, but I don't see Steven actually owning the fact that he's bad at relationships when he's giving relationship advice. He gives relationship advice, but he's not great at relationships.
Dude, I can't.
You really think it's a troll?
She cut it off. Maybe not.
You're the evil devil, okay? Don't be here.
She cut it off. He actually, he elaborated on that point. I know Destiny, he basically said something along the lines of, I never recommend my relationship to anybody else. Don't do what I do. I'm not the person you need to go to for relationships. But he gives if he ever talks about relationships, he gives general tips to maintain a good relationship. He doesn't try to spit off things you should do to be in the situation he's in. He gives like general tips that anybody can understand, you know, like empathy and shit like that. Like it don't be nothing that intricate that anybody couldn't tell you that may have had a successful relationship in the past.
You're gonna make me stop. You're the bad one, okay? That's gonna make me think bad thoughts. Okay, I'm staying.
No, I'm absolutely the angel on the shoulder. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I don't think she's trolling, but I don't know. She has such a wild impression of me that is so far from reality. Even the examples that she gave were so wrong. She literally gave the example. Sneako's open about his cheating. Like, first of all, cheating to these guys is Giga Chad. They think that's cool. Like, he literally talks about how I can't even say anything because I don't even know how much he's public with. I can't even say what I want to fucking say. Like, I am so open with everything. I said I've cheated on Aaron like 20 times. I've always said this. I don't lie any of this about my life. I can't lie anything about my life. My whole life is public. How the she possibly say this kid is more open than me? He says he's Islamic. He doesn't even know he's never open.
That was crazy too. She was giving Sneako way more leniency than she gave Destiny, and it's because she never argued with him. But she was giving him way more leniency for his behavior than Destiny, which was crazy because Sneako is full of shit, and Destiny is, for the most part, from what I've seen, he's honest about what he's gone through. But if this whole Lauren Southern thing happened, honestly, I can't even say that's full of shit because he said he's not going to say who he has sex with or not. He can't, and he doesn't want to blow up somebody else's spot. He don't, if Lauren came out and said, yeah, fuck Destiny would probably be like, yeah, we fuck. Like, that's the difference. He don't want to blow up somebody else's spot. Sneako is just a fucking grifter. But she gives him slack.
Okay, I see it. Obviously. Brittany could have a bias with you because she knows about cheating, but then that wouldn't explain why she doesn't have a bias towards Sneako. Correct? That's what's frustrating right now, right?
I don't know how she can say he's open-minded.
The first is, do you like, I know you talk to a lot of people, and you seem actually quite open-minded to me. Is that,
he is open-minded. That is who Sneako is. I want to know if Dr. K thinks Steven's open-minded.
I just want to point out this. She's come to the point where she says Sneako is beyond reproach too. And at this day and time, she says Sneako's beyond reproach. I forgot what it was that did it for her, but he did something. You know, Sneako does so much shit. He did something, and she's like, yeah, Sneako's fucked.
How is he the open-minded one? I don't understand. There's no way. I don't know if he's still like, is she upset from the conversation? And it's just
also, Destiny is comparing him to Sneako. Just because Dr. K says Sneako is open-minded doesn't mean he won't say the same about Destiny necessarily. But that's what Destiny's talking about. It's not that Sneako is and Destiny is. It's that you're saying Destiny is not, but Sneako is. That's wild.
Just like carried over into everything now?
So remember, this man who argues that women in cluster Bs weaponize their mental illness to get away with bad behavior, he is the one who is doing this action. Moving forward in the conversations that occurred, there was a group event, and he admitted to something that I never thought he would admit to, something that directly impacts his political, I think, desires to be accepted by the DNC and by maybe normalized political groups, the way he goes after other streamers for being too extreme. Remember, this man isn't a liberal because his values are liberal. He's a liberal because he wants to win, and he thinks it makes sense to be on that side to win for whatever reason. I'm not sure. You'd have to ask him. But the same man that says he worked so hard, the same man that is upset that the DNC and other people won't embrace him the way they embrace others, the same man that complains that for some reason people don't want to be around him, forgets to look at his own actions as maybe the reasons why. And so there at the restaurant in front of other people, for whatever reason, he felt comfortable telling us that he was committing voter fraud. I was shocked. To be honest with you, I didn't think he would ever say that out loud. I think it's a pretty big deal given his reputation online as somebody who wants to be in politics. And again, I'm not making the accusation. I am telling you what he told us. I'm telling you what came out of his mouth. He's a registered voter in Nebraska. He votes in Nebraska, even though he's in Miami and should have registered to vote there. But he thinks.
Fam, I know she did not just say he's committing voter fraud because he lives in Miami and voted in Nebraska. I know she did not just do that. First of all, even if that was a form of voter fraud, you ready to give him you ready to send him off, get him to send him, I don't know the fucking penalty for voter fraud. Either go to jail or pay a nasty fine. You willing to say that because you so butthurt about y'all falling out. But not only that, you sound crazy because that is not voter fraud and people do that all the fucking time. I'm thinking she finna say he voting in Miami and Nebraska or something. I'm thinking she said he voting twice. Is that, you know what? I could be wrong. That may be classified as voter fraud, but I think that 99% of people do not give a fuck. Because if you voted once, you voted once. If he's registered for Nebraska, he's registered for Nebraska. And he can, you know why? Because he owns property in Nebraska, which probably gives him the means to be able to still do that. He owns a house in Nebraska. So if he wants to vote for Nebraska, he can vote for Nebraska as long as he's not voting fucking twice. If he don't want to vote in Florida, he don't want to vote in Florida. But he voted once. I don't know he lives in Florida, but he owns property in Nebraska. So I think that it's fair to say he could technically vote for what he wants in either state, how he chooses to. But for her to sit here and say that's voter fraud, knowing what voter fraud means to people, that's crazy, bro. That's crazy. She's wild for that, bro.
Thinks it's better for the Democrats that he votes in Nebraska, as Nebraska is conservative. Again, willing to win at any cost, even if it means cheating. This is Destiny. This is his character. And I think it speaks volumes. I should have left right there, then got on a plane and left. But given the circumstance and considering he wasn't the only one I went to Miami to see, I stayed. I collabed, and then I left. My idea of Destiny changed in my head forever. Because the more I learned about him, the more I realized...
And now you're trying to make that seem like that was like the straw that broke the camel's back, and it's not even really that big of a deal. People do that all the time. I have a cousin right now that lives in Florida. I mean, in Illinois, but voted in Indiana. Like, I mean, he lives in Illinois, but voted in Indiana. Like, stop it, bro. This is ridiculous. Nobody gives a fuck about no shit like that. Especially if you got ties to the damn community. He's still he's staying in Illinois, but he has a place in Indiana. Same situation. He has a place that he pays for to live in Indiana, but he's in Illinois for the time being. Like,
this is just not a good person, but in a philosophical sense, which is what my channel is based around. All of us are struggling, and if Destiny could face himself and get the therapy he needed, he might just be one of the greatest people. But for now, he's not. He is the Sneakos. He is the Andrew Tates. He's exactly the problem with masculinity and men in the...
Okay, I don't know. I'm to compare him to Sneeko and Andrew Tate is wild, because when you hear Sneeko and Andrew Tate, the perception is very like negative for most people. And I'm not saying people can't view Destiny negatively, but to put them in the same category of negative is wild. Destiny is not out here trying to deceive people into a lifestyle or milk money out of them in a deceptive manner, or trying to promote unhealthy relationships with women, or sex trafficking them, or flipping religions every 2 months. Like, come on, bro. Even if you want to put Destiny in a negative content creator category, it ain't Andrew Tate and Sneeko. That's extremely unfair.
These bubbles who claim they care about women, but every move they make is at the expense of those women. Every move
he makes is at the expense of women. Stop.
Destiny makes is at the expense of anyone who gets in his way. Now I understand the people.
It's not, because you quote unquote get in his way, but all he did was just stop paying you any mind, right? He's not like trying to ruin you or anything. Yeah, he just cut you off, and y'all cut each other off, and he just let you make your content, right?
People in his life see the real good in him. And I think you see it too. There's a charisma about Destiny, same with Trump and Andrew Tate and all these people. There's something about them that feels so authentic, but it is a show. I don't think this video will change a lot of hearts, but I do think the right people will hear it. You might feel comforted, because the way the internet has gaslit us into thinking that Destiny is just a victim, that everyone just hates him for no reason, without considering the fact that he has ruined, impacted, and honestly hurt so many people and their lives. It can't be ignored anymore, especially moving into 2025. We need to stop doing...
I think that's a little unfair. I think there's a lot of people that have hurt people in their lives. Like, I've hurt people in their lives. I mean, is it a lasting effect? Probably not. But I've done things that hurt people in the past. Like, people can hurt people, but there's levels to it. You do your level system. There's levels to hurting people. And I think that this video seems so emotionally driven that it's not. I'm definitely willing to hear somebody out, but this is just not it. It's not it. Because I like both of them as content creators. They both have their flaws, though. And this is one of hers. She's reacting emotionally.
Emotional labor for people who won't do it themselves.
Do you really think they'll move on? They've been stalking you for years at this point? No, because, well, for Destiny, he won't move on because he'll never give up. Like, his anger and resentment will carry on for the rest of his life. Like, he'll only stop.
She's using Hassan to back her up. Hassan is another bullshitter. Like, Hassan is another person that's full of shit, and you're like using him to like plead your case, which is crazy.
If I stopped streaming. But for people in his community, they'll probably get bored. They'll consider it to be stale, and they'll move on to the other thing. But he makes a lot of money off of this. So the more I grow, the more my haters grow, and the more my haters grow, the more he can make money off of them. So I don't think he's going.
This is such a big... Destiny's been growing without talking about Hassan, and now Hassan was not talking about Destiny until he had to, because Destiny was growing so much he couldn't avoid talking about him. And now he talks about him with no guards. And it's like, you need Destiny to grow because your shit was dry. But now you talk about Destiny because he's so big because he's grown, and it ain't been because of you. That's hilarious. And now she's using him to prove her point.
I don't think he's gonna stop, but it's all good. That's neither here nor there. I'm a happy man. I rest easy at night knowing that I'm doing right by others. You know what I mean? You just gotta do what you believe in, you know?
I know in the past I've collabed with lots of not great people, and I have privated those videos because as much as I wanted to meet these people where they weren't willing to do the work, whether they were Sneeko, Lauren Southern, or Destiny. So when the Democrats say, do we need an Andrew Tate on our side? No, we do not. We do not need a Trump. We do not need any of these men who are willing to win at any cost.
When people say that, it's about the notoriety. It's about the face. It's about the name. It's about the enthusiasm. It's not about the... And first of all, she's naming all those people. Nobody said we need a Trump on the left. People said Joe Rogan. You need just somebody that's charismatic, that's willing to talk to any and everybody, and that's open to conversation, and that's popular and people like. It's not about Trump, the fucking liar, or Sneeko, the fucking idiot, or Myron, the fucking misogynistic gay guy. It's like, that's not what it's about.
We need good people with good values who want to move the country forward. One of the things that stands out to me about Destiny is he believes he's not abusive as long as he doesn't hit women. That's why when Steven Crowder's videos came out of him abusing his wife.
If you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries. Hillary, how do you respect me? Yes. How do you, man? I'm a man. Get an Uber. Okay, Steven, I can't. Feeling some constraints? Steven, like, I can't go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxing has made me. What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back on your back. No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back on your back. It doesn't work either. Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you're going to be back on my back? I love you very much. I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you, and the fact is when I don't look, I need an A, B, C, and D. No. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. It's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right in that. Become someone, let's admit, day in and day out, worthy of a wife, no, not as a wife. I didn't say the wife. Hillary, come on now. I'm not going to engage. I'm not going to engage.
I hate judging. I hate evaluating like fights from like, or I hate evaluating relationships from single fights. Honest to God, I just don't have enough information to make any statement about this. It could be the case, for instance, that obviously you should never you up to a partner. Like for this particular clip, it could be the case that it could be that he's like trying to keep her from going anywhere. He's trying to lock her in the house, etc. Like that. Those could all be things for sure. It could also be the case that she's like an ultra super lazy that does nothing around the house ever, and he's getting tired of it. I mean, like we can sit here and jerk off about how evil and horrible somebody is, but like I hate trying to evaluate like relationship status from a fight. He's acting like a child. You don't know that. You have no idea though. You don't know. Like what if it is theoretically? It could be the case. It could be the case that he just got home and is chilling after recording like a second or third episode from the day and found out that like everything in the house is in disarray or and maybe they've got a maid and she's got like 2 responsibilities and she hasn't even done that. It could be the case, right? It could also be the case that he's just like walking around the house and he's lazy and does nothing. He thinks that since she has a job, he can boss her around all day to do whatever he wants. That could be the case too, but we just don't know. We have no context. The reality is that I'll tell you this is just like a life fact. This is just, I don't know how else to tell you other than you'll learn when you get older. You cannot judge a relationship based on a 3 or 4 minute fight. If you think you can, it's because you're retarded. Full stop. That's it. You just can't. You can't. You have no idea. There are so many types of fights where once you get more information, you're like, oh shit, okay, I understand this, or wow, fucking crazy. Like, oh, okay, this makes sense why this person. Like, you can never, ever on like a 2, 3, 4 minute thing just evaluate on shit like this. Like, you can't do it. So as long as we don't see someone beating his wife, we can't make any judgments. Yep, that's what I said. See you later, forever, never, ever on ban.
Steven wasn't sure what.
You see what I'm saying? All this did was make him look good. If you had a problem with anything he said, you're the fucking problem. Brittany, I don't know if I don't know how aware of like what real life is like, but that's real life. And that's something that most people can't do, is to not judge something off of not having enough information. That's the problem. People judge things with so little information. And yet he said, I'm not judging their relationship off of one fight. I can't. It's irresponsible for me to try to judge what's going on in their relationship because I saw an end result fight. That's unfair. He said, then what my example I gave earlier in this video about the colors, he said somebody came in there and said, you saying he's not abusive because he doesn't hit her? Yep, I'm gonna ban you. Because he didn't say anything along those lines, but yet somebody said, oh, it's not abusive because he didn't because he didn't beat her. That's so irrelevant and unrelated to everything I just said. Brittany just showed that whole 3-minute clip, and all Destiny said was, I'm not judging these people because I don't have enough information. Yet Brittany just showed that as if it did something for her. And because he said at the end about the beating part, I don't know if she interpreted it wrong or again, she's in her feelings, but this is ridiculous.
What the issue was exactly. Lots of dysfunctional, abusive couples are this way. And Destiny normalizes that behavior constantly. Because
that was not normalizing. He said, I don't know what's going on to speak on it. More people need to do that. That is the problem. You see something out of context, an end result of something they've been married. They probably have years or months of issues, and we don't know that information. And for us to see a singular fight is unfair to judge what's happening in the totality of their relationship. And yet you are upset because he acknowledges that versus saying, oh, he's an abusive man. That's crazy, bro. And that makes you more of a misandrist than him a misogynist, if we're going to be honest.
Because he knows that is him.
Maybe sometimes like a level below you. You know what I mean? I just want to be treated as equal.
I think treated like equal means treated like equal.
And even if she has a viable complaint about him not pulling his weight, not doing,
I think treated like equal means treated like equal. Because he knows that is him.
Maybe sometimes like a level below you. You know what I mean? I just want to be treated as equal.
I think treated behavior constantly.
Sorry, I got to slow it down because I don't know what was said.
Because he knows that is him.
Maybe sometimes like a level below you. You know what I mean? I just want to be treated as equal.
I think treated like equal means contributing like equal.
And even if she has a viable
You want
complaint
to be treated like an equal without contributing like an equal.
about him not pulling his weight, not doing chores, not showing initiative, right? That she has to tell him to take the garbage out or has to tell him to, clean the dishes or something. That's okay. You can have that. She can have that complaint from here to Sunday. Is that an idiom? But that does not justify what she just said. Under no circumstances is it okay to treat a spouse like they are below you. Under no circumstances. So, and then, at the reunion, she's still saying, I'm blunt, I need to watch the tone of voice, but everything I'm saying is accurate and okay, but I just need to be kinder when I'm delivering it. No.
He is similar to the Crowder.
That's fair. That's fair. I do feel that way in a lot of instances. I do think that there's certain things that you just don't do to a partner. I agree with that. Steven Crowder, I think he said some shit that I think is weird, but it could be subjective. You can let me know if y'all disagree. I don't know if he said anything that's beyond the pale. But I agree with the sentiment that if you're in a relationship with somebody and you love them, there is some things you don't say. But you can also be the person that says something that's unacceptable after being done wrong for a certain amount of time. Again, not having information, how can you know what I'm saying? Like, if somebody be like, if somebody's been abusing you emotionally for years on end, and then at some point you be like, I'm not doing shit no more because you made me hate you and I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, you hear that and you be like, oh my God. But it's like, well, what got them to this point? You know what I'm saying? So, but I do understand the sentiment of there's certain things that's unacceptable to say in a relationship, but it still kind of comes down to what got you there.
Similar to the Sneakos and similar to the Tates, no matter how much he tries to tell you, he debates these people because he isn't like them. Regardless of what he tells himself, listen to what he's telling you. He is telling you every day in those streams exactly who he is. Believe him. The one last piece that he told me that I think really is what garners a lot of empathy is that he is traumatized and that he has suffered in his life. And that if you know anything about his childhood that's public, you know that this boy was traumatized.
If you're making this much money, I don't want to live like right here, right? I like to live like this. My parents lived right at the edge of their income for their whole fucking lives. But I would go and visit my grandma every weekend. My grandma, I didn't know at the time what's like normal or not, but my grandma is like really fucking weird, where she would like buy dogs and then kill them. Throughout the course of like the 8 years that I spent a lot of time with her, she must have had like 20 dogs. I would guess like anywhere from 15 to 20 dogs. Damn. But what she would do is she would buy a dog and then she would keep it for like 3 or 4 months, and then like it would do something wrong, like it would pee in the house or it would chew up some furniture, but like she never trained him or anything, and she would get mad and then she would like make up a story about how the dog was sick, or she didn't want to give the dog up because she was worried that somebody would abuse it, and then she would take it to the vet and they would end up putting it down. Here's a really weird thing that happened to me. One of the weirdest things when I was living with my grandma when I was 17. So we had a little, I don't even remember what kind of dog. So this dog got in trouble a ton. This little dog pissed an unbelievable amount in my grandma's room. Her whole floor next to her bed was coated in dog piss. One of the days that I got up to leave, it was like 4:30, 4:45, I heard the dog pissing in my grandma's room, and I'd never
seen it before. And this dog was taking some massive piss. And I remember that I opened my door and my grandma had her hands on the bed and she was just kind of like barely like leaning over and she was just pissing all over the floor. And she kind of looked at me, and I kind of looked at her and I didn't say anything. And she kind of like grumbled a little bit and then she like crawled back into bed. And I left and I was like, holy. So I guess like all of that in the bedroom was just hers.
And my heart goes out to child Destiny. But you're no longer.
I don't know the context behind that story. Destiny can tell a whole story that'll be fake and it'll be funny. He'll do shit like that. That sounds unbelievable. But I really am hoping that Brittany did not take that and use it, even though it wasn't real. Destiny is so sarcastic at times. He will tell you a whole story with full-blown commitment and so much. It would be so believable if you don't know him and you just saw that shit on TikTok. You would be like, oh my God, y'all listen to this story. It's crazy. You'll send it to your friends, but if you don't know that content creator, it's turned into something it's not. Destiny will tell stories like that and it won't be real. That may be real. I don't know that video. That was before I started watching Destiny. But that may be real. But that's crazy if it's real. And I hope that she did her research to know that that was real.
You're a child. You're in your mid-30s and you want to be considered respectable. Here's your opportunity to be. Will you take it? I don't know. I wish nothing but the best for him in terms of his mental health. I hope he sees the right kind of.
Because you just tried to get him to go to jail and you're calling him a fucking rape apologist and didn't prove it in the. I like Brittany. And this is fucked up because I think she's really like hurt by whatever the fuck happened between them. But she didn't prove him being a misogynist or she's a cheater, but rape apologist, there was nothing about being a rape apologist. Forethought didn't rape Kelly Jean. Why are you making that an issue? He just made very cruel jokes about it, but he didn't do it, and nor does that mean Destiny apologizes for it. I don't think Destiny will ever condone that.
Of therapist to help him. I hope he stops dating and interacting and abusing people in the way that he does. I hope that he protects his community moving forward. And I hope the people in his life are able to hold him accountable in ways that I don't think they have since he hasn't come out and admitted any of the fault that he's made. Remember that when his divorce was happening.
He's admitted to being fault, but he doesn't have to like give every single detail to everything he's ever done because that's not even a core part of his content. It's a core part of yours. No, it's not actually. It's funny that she wants him to do that, but Brittany literally keeps her personal life off of the internet. She said, I'm married and I moved to, I forgot what country she's in now, but she moved out of the U.S. She's in another country, and she's like, I'm keeping my private life. Y'all don't know nothing. Destiny ain't putting every single thing in Front Street, but it's more than hers. People know more about his personal life than hers, but yeah, you saying he's supposed to admit to everything. You don't admit to what you do, and that's part of your content. You talk about, you give people advice and shit and what they should and should not do and how to live and love and care and all that stuff and empathy, but you expect Destiny to do something that's not within the realm of his content that you don't do within the realm of your content. I think that's a little unfair.
He let the narrative be spun, that it came out of nowhere, that she cheated and left him. Even Ray William Johnson covered this story, claiming that that's all that occurred without ever taking into consideration anything that came before that. In some ways, if you look at the story in a different way, it was a woman in an abusive relationship who finally was able to be free. And that's also true. Regardless of how messy any of these people are, they are people. And I believe in redemption. And I hope they all go on a path to seek that peace.
He's also relatively young, and he seems to be able to handle he comes off as somebody that seems to be able to handle their emotions well. I think they'll both be okay.
And redemption within their own values. I plan to move forward.
A clean divorce.
In 2025, making better and healthier connections. I'm going to be more diligent about who I collab with. I'm trying really hard to do my research before talking to people. I'm okay with political differences, but I'm not okay with a apologist, and I'm not okay doing whatever it takes to win in any political bubble. Last but not least, thank you to my audience who has been here, who has been supportive. And honestly, thank you to the people that sent me messages, both during the bridge burning and even recently, letting me know that you too have been impacted by these communities and by this content creator named Destiny. I understand it's not easy. It's scary coming forward. As many of you guys know, this isn't exactly the most peaceful content creator, and he often brags about they go low, he'll go lower. But I think it's time to say something. And I think it's time to make sure that people know what I intend for my audience and my content moving forward. Because I have been somebody who's been outspoken about standing up for what's right. And I have been somebody who has said, do not do emotional labor for these men. Do not do emotional labor for these people that are willing to take advantage of you. And so I just want to make it clear that I am no longer doing that. And moving forward in 2025, I really hope you don't either.
Well, there we have it, y'all. At the end of the day, I think that this was a very emotion-driven video. I think Brittany Simon's a pretty decent content creator, but ever since their fallout, whenever she talks about Destiny, it doesn't seem to come from a place of like objectivity. Like I said, you got people like Myron that disagree with Destiny from the top to bottom. I don't know what they'll ever agree on, but he doesn't and Myron's a disgusting person. On top of that, he's a disgusting person, but yeah, he doesn't treat Destiny like he's some vile villain. Brittany just has these standards that she feels that people should treat people as far as relationship wise, clearly, and she puts that at such a high barometer that a lot of other people don't. Like I said, if you already agree with Destiny, this wasn't going to change you. If you disagree with him, it was just going to give you more reason to feel like you disagree. But she misrepresented a lot of these clips she put in. I wish she would have. I think she should just not done this. Like, I think it's in her best interest to just not talk about Destiny as far as her content goes, because I don't think it serves her any. All it does is bring hate, because Destiny does have a fucking a community that doesn't give a fuck about hurting people's feelings and shit like that. Like, they'll brigade her like a motherfucker. So it is what it is. But nonetheless, it was a fun watch. I spoke more than I spoke a lot on this video just because I knew the background lore, and I just felt like it wasn't represented fairly. I'll go, feel free to check all of it all y'all want. I'll post links as relevant. But if you made it to this point in the video, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, if not one, then all three, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace.